everyone, it's Jay the Nerd here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to get all the nerdy content you ever need every Saturday. And today we're going to be talking about something really fun. We're going to be talking about my favorite video game characters. Now, a while back I made my favorite video game like crushes, but this is different. This is just in general my favorite video game characters, and some of the crushes stuff will overlap, but anyways, my first favorite video game character I'm going to be talking about is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I got into the Kingdom Hearts series, I think about a year-ish now at this point, and it's one of my favorite things in the entire world. Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Kingdom Hearts, and Sora is definitely my favorite character from Kingdom Hearts. It's funny, usually a lot of the times the main character in a game is not my favorite character. I tend to lean towards more, the side characters or the villains or whatever. But Sora is an exception to that. There's just something about him that I just love. Like, he's so positive and optimistic and does literally everything he can to help and save his friends and the people that he loves. And he has this like deep connection to other people, which is what a lot of his power comes from. And he's just a great character, and I just love him so much. Okay, and my next one is going to be Akechi from Persona 5. He's one of the ones that I talked about in my video game crushes video, but he's also just a favorite video game character in general. He's my favorite Persona 5 character for sure. One of my favorite video game characters ever of all time. He's such an amazing character. Like, he's such a, there's about to be Persona 5 spoilers. So, Persona 5 spoilers, if you haven't played Persona 5, don't watch this part. But he is just such a complicated villain character. I love complicated villains. I'm fatal for complicated villains. A lot of times some of my favorite characters are complicated villains, and he's just so brilliantly written as a character. And I love how much he cares for Joker and develops a friendship with him, and how that comes into play in his villain or antagonist, more like it, agenda. And I don't know have the words sometimes for how much I love Akechi as a character. He's probably my favorite video game character ever, honestly, out of everyone on this list. He's probably my favorite video game character ever. He's just I'm at a loss for words. I love him so much. So I'm going to move on to my next favorite character, which is Chloe Price from Life is Strange. Now, I've talked about Life is Strange a million times on this channel, and you know that it's one of my favorite games of all time. It means a lot to me. The game came out when I was going through my divorce, and it was there for me, and it was something, each episode, that I could look forward to while I was going through this really stressful, horrible thing. And so because of that, I have a really deep personal relationship with that game, and I always will. And Chloe in particular is just, I love her so much. Her as a character means so much to me. She's just, I love everything about her. I love her relationship with Max, and how much she cares for Max, and how much she cares for Rachel, and how she's such a brilliant, talented, amazing person, and horrible stuff happened to her, and she let it get to her, but she still pushes through, and she survives, and she's there for Max, and she's such a great friend, and I love her so much. Next is Alphino from Final Fantasy XIV. Now, I mentioned in my monthly favorites video that I did last weekend that Final Fantasy XIV has pretty much taken over my life, and it's one of my favorite games of all time now, and I love it to death. I'm almost done I've almost caught up to the story now. I'm in patch 5.2, which is like post Shadowbringers, which is the most recent expansion, and Alphino, without a doubt, from the beginning, has been my favorite character. I love him to death. There's just something about him. He's just so like sassy and charming and smart and talented. I just love everything about him. He's adorable, and I love the kind of like I have a thing for, you know, complicated villains, but I also kind of have a thing for like the princely, dramatic male characters. Like I love Yusuke from Persona 5 for that reason. And Alphino is definitely princely and dramatic and sassy, and I love him so, so much. If they ever kill him off in FF14, will I be mad. But anyway, my next one is Natsuno from 13 Sentinels. She is just so adorable and so brave and awesome. And there's, I don't know what it was, but out of all the 13 characters you play as in 13 Sentinels, she is the one, besides Hijiyama, which I talked about in my crushes video, that I connected to the most. And I just wanted to play her story constantly. Like, I just freaking loved her, and her story with BJ was just like everything. Like, I loved it so, so much. She's just so adorable and perfect, and her story, her little journey with her little robot friend is just so amazing, and I just love her. And speaking of, my best friend, Matt, actually got me a figure of Natsuno and BJ, and I'm going to show you right now. Look at that. Look how amazing that figure is. Little BJ, and then Natsuno in her track uniform and the little start call sentinel thing. It's gorgeous, 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 and I love it so much. I can't stop looking at it. He gave it to me on Tuesday, and I just can't stop looking at it. It is so good. But anyways, the final character that I'm going to be talking about is GLaDOS from Portal. I've also talked about Portal and Portal 2 a million times since I started this channel. It's one of my favorite video games of all time, specifically Portal 2. And I've always said that GLaDOS is my favorite video game villain of all time, and I stand by that. I love her to death, and her story with Chell in Portal 2 is so beautiful and complicated, and it's the first time that I ever like bawled my eyes out during a game, was all of the stuff with GLaDOS in Portal 2, especially at the end. And I couldn't make this list without talking about GLaDOS. GLaDOS has been an important part of my life for the last 10 years now. I've talked about it before, but Portal 2 is the game that pushed me to get even more into gaming itself. I've always loved video games, but I didn't really delve deep into the gaming catalog until Portal 2, and I saw how much video games could really, the story of a video game could really touch you. And it's what made me the gamer that I am today. So that's it, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.